So please you go there. Come in. I'm still waiting for the call.
Just a second, Excellency. Ayushi.
The Government of India, distinguished representatives from the diplomatic community in New Delhi, colleagues from across the United Nations. It's hard to try to deliver a message after the wonderful messages and reminders from Marcus and Sine and from the drama group. But on behalf of the United Nations in India and UNICEF, I'm honored to join this important remembrance. And I'm grateful to the High Commission, to the High Commissioner, for the opportunity for us to come together to honor the victims and the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. I'm especially honored to join this remembrance here in this country in India that has always stood for those who are the most vulnerable, whether it was against colonialism or apartheid, or coming to stand to support children and women. Each year, for 29 years, this commemoration honors the memory of the lives that were lost, it recalls the families torn apart, and it remembers the futures that were extinguished by the atrocities of 1994. To remember and honor Rwanda's remarkable path to healing, to democracy and equity. And we also gather to renew our promise as the international community to all future generations that we will never forget, and we will do everything we can to ensure that no people anywhere in the world have to experience the same horrors again. It is a promise that we reinforce as the United Nations through the work that we try to do across the world with agencies working with young people, with children, with refugees, with victims and survivors of war and conflict, working across the world to help the most marginalized. Today, it is clear that there is no single pathway to preventing crimes against humanity. This is work we have to do in our schools. It's work that we have to do through our curriculums of education to secure the remembrance for the youngest generations. And we have to start with the children by ensuring that they are safe, that they are protected, that they know how to make moral choices, that they have access to the truth. And we remember and we thank David for his words, that we work to develop and in spite of the horrors to forgive and to love again, but not to forget. And with this, I'm honored to read a message from the United Nations Secretary General Guterres, beginning on this day of reflection on the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. We
of a strong partnership between Rwanda and India. May I also thank the United Nations in India and the Gandhi Mandela Foundation for their incredible role to make this day of commemoration happen. I wish to also extend my gratitude to the UNICEF representative to India for representing UN family in this commemoration. I also thank all excellencies, ambassadors, high commissioners, honorary consuls, and other members of the diplomatic corps, as well as Indian government officials here present, for your ever generous support and show of solidarity. Our Indian friends who have always stood beside Rwanda in every commemoration, we are so comforted by your compassion in our saddest times of genocide remembrance. Honorable Chief Guest, Excellencies, distinguished guests, this date of 7th April was instituted by the United Nations General Assembly in 2003 as International Day of Reflection on the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. On this day, Rwanda and the international community commemorate when the genocide against the Tutsi began in my country, following which from April to July 1994, more than 1 million Tutsi were slaughtered in the worst atrocious and last genocide of the 20th century. April 7th also marks the African Union Day of commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. And further on, countries around the world have also joined Rwanda and the Rwandans for this noble cause. The observance of the International Day of Reflection on the Genocide against the Tutsi
by the Honorable High Commissioner for the simple reason that in India's long history, which is more than 5,000 years old, we've seen many instances like this. We've gone through genocide, we've gone through denials, we've gone through inquisitions, we've gone through jizya, we've gone through direct action days, we've gone through hell. And yet, the resilience of its people and its peace-loving nature lies in the thought and the ideas which all of us exhibit. I'm so glad that we have a Jain monk amongst us today, Mr. Lukeshi, and Jainism came from this country, which talks about non-violence not only towards human beings, but also towards plants and animals, which today the world has started recognizing in terms of laws of environment, sustainable development, but this country has shown that path a few centuries BC ago. I saw a magazine lying on the table, and that magazine has a picture of none less than Dalai Lama ji. Buddhism came out of this country, religion of peace and harmony. And how Buddhism had to get out of this country also is a history of genocide. History of genocide which we saw as late as 1990 in Kashmir. So we've seen a plenty. And when you were speaking about denial of the word genocide, I think we have experienced that also and continue to experience that till date. But irrespective of that, I bow before the resilience of the people who choose the right path. And the right path is the path which India always took. Irrespective of the wrongs done to it, its people, we've always been on the right side of the history. And right side of the history is when we were the most powerful country in the world, we did not attack others. We did not kill others, we did not try to occupy their lands. And that's what people need to remember today. That when we are commemorating those who died for no fault of theirs, we also have to remember that denial leads to many more instances like that.